7,000 square feet. When the project is complete, Guinness will report this as the Guinness Book of World Record, largest sports mural ever done by a single artist. And it's here in Frederick. It's remarkable. Because of that, it will become an economic driver and a major tourist attraction. CoStar reported that we will have over 40 million views a year because of the size, the magnitude, and the location. It's incredible. But just like good art tells a story. That's what art is about. It's about telling that story. The remarkable thing here is that we are going to be telling not a story, but 250 stories about athletes that were all born and raised in Frederick County over the last 125 years, dating back from 1895. Over 30 sports. What's really cool is that this mural is going to be on the back of the Frederick Keys Stadium. As I mentioned last Sunday in our other presentation, it's not on the inside, so don't worry about those home runs that hit the wall, okay? It's on the back side. And as you tour this, when it's done, you're going to find something very remarkable because there's so much talk about diversity today and the importance of that. Well, back in 1895, all the athletes that you'll see recognized were male and white. But as you walk along the wall and you go decade to decade, from 1895, 2005, 2015, you find your first female, your first African American. By the time you get to present day, it's a complete diverse group of individuals. It's an incredible story that we will be sharing. It cannot happen, though, without the right team. The team starts with the actual artist. This would not happen without Yemi. It sounds to me like most of you know who Yemi is, right? However, if you don't, because I'm going to have Yemi come up and say a few words. I have to introduce him to you appropriately, so I'm going to read the bio that we have on our website. Born in Nigeria, Yemi studied art and worked successfully as a professional artist in New York before relocating to Frederick County. Commercially, Yemi has produced illustrations for well-known retailers and more than 100 Fortune 500 companies, including Neiman Marcus, Target, AT&T, American Express, Bacardi, Con Edison, Fortune Magazine, and Haagen-Dazs, to name a few. In addition to several children's books, he has designed more than 300 international postage stamps, and his girl group stamps are part of the permanent collection in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland, Ohio. Yemi has garnered nationwide press for his accomplishments from prestigious news media, including the New York Times, Time Magazine, Newsweek, The Washington Post, and Entertainment Tonight. Well known in Frederick County for his community-centered projects, he collaborates with towns across the region to design highly collectible keepsakes, highlighting area landmarks. Courtyard by Marriott, the Common Market, Creekside Plaza, and many more locations are home to his large historic murals and glass installations. The Pillars of Frederick, on the side of Mccutchen's Apple Products building, features legendary county leaders and is one of the largest murals in Maryland at 1,280 square feet. So with that, please let's welcome the artist of the project, Yemi.
Well, I would like to start by thanking each and every one of you for taking your precious time to be with us, to celebrate with us this jewel that will belong to us in here, Frederick. Because this I consider to be the Sistine Chapel to sports. Okay, and what I'm supposed to talk about is the art. Okay, and I know the people. I invited the people in this room. We invited the people in this room because you guys are connected to art in one way or the other. And first of all, I'd like to just backtrack a little bit and thank all the champions in the room. Okay, the political champions, the sports champions, the business champions, the community leader champions. Thanks for coming here. And I would especially like to thank the sports champions, because without your efforts, we could not tell your story. We're doing the easy part. You did the hard part of becoming champions. So I really appreciate that. Anyway, to go back to the art, how did I choose the style that I chose? If they can turn the screen on. Yeah. Because I'm blessed, very, very abundantly blessed with the ability to work in many media, glass, wood, painting, pencil, et cetera, et cetera. And I had to go through a journey to figure out what is the style to use to paint a mural of such complexity and size. And what we arrived at is, I started at this style. You can see there's two styles, okay? See Charlie Keller's face, and he's very clean, very crisp, but a mural is a marathon, especially the largest one, it's a marathon. So you have to run at a speed that you can sustain. And so I arrived at the styles that you see on the walls back there, and hopefully up here as well soon. And the idea of the style is, it's got humanity to it. It's not perfect. It's like George Seurat did it, the pointillism. And so that's where we arrived at. And apropos of that, we have some of my studies that I did that are on that table over there for those who might be interested in having a piece of arriving at the mural. So you can say, hey, I have a piece of this. This is part of the style book that we use to arrive at this mural, and it belongs to me. And if you're interested, I'd actually personalize it for you. And again, I'd like to thank everybody for being here, and I really appreciate your time. And we really look forward to birthing this project. And when it's done, we will all celebrate, and we will all think, you know what, this belongs to us. Thank you so much.
5 or 6 years ago, the project started, the inception, the idea. And we were very blessed to have our own sports historian who spent years studying every single athlete out of Frederick County for the last 125 years. That's pretty remarkable. When I met with Sheldon, he showed me on his screen 1,200 names of athletes. That he had pared it down from thousands to 1,200. From there, he had the very difficult job of getting it down to 250. It's remarkable what he's done. I just can't express to you that without his efforts over the last number of years, again, this project wouldn't be as magnificent. But again, with art, it's about the stories. The stories of these athletes are incredible. What I've learned in this short period of time has been remarkable. and I want you to experience a little bit of it yourself. So I'm going to have Sheldon come up for a few minutes and just share some of the stories. Sheldon Sheeler.
Am I live? All right. So quite often conversations with me regarding Frederick's greatest athlete often start and end with, is it Chuck Foreman or is it Charlie Keller? But I'm here to tell you that that's just the tip of the iceberg. To drop some numbers on you, more than 100 professional athletes have come out of Frederick County. We have had Frederick County public school, high school graduates in each of the last 5 Olympic Summer Games. Yeah. Oh, I'm just getting started. More than 30 athletes from our county have gone on to NCAA Division I athletic success so great that they've been inducted into their college's halls of fame. And that stretches from the Northeast down to the University of Miami, all the way out to the University of Iowa, and points all in between. We have college All-Americans, tons of them. In sports, you've probably never even realized there was a college sport to start with. But the list goes on and on and on. Basically, Frederick County is an athletic powerhouse, especially relative to its population base. The last time I checked with Kevin Kendrow, a Frederick County high school athlete is 2 to 3 times more likely to receive scholarship funding than the average U.S. citizen or U.S. High school senior. We pump out athletes in volume out of this. We just export them left and right. And we see them all over. They've been all over the news lately. Saylor at UConn, Jordan Addison at Pitt, and the list goes on and on. But I want to share really quick 3 stories of 3 athletes who sort of, during my research, really resonated with me. Because really this project honors so many sports. And it proves that Frederick County is not just about 1 or 2 sports. It's not about just 1 or 2 athletes, but an amazing collection of them. And one of those that really I think is pretty exceptional is an individual named Pershing Mondorf. And probably just about no one in this room has ever heard of that name. Yet he was our Jim Thorpe. Pershing attended Emmitsburg High School. And for those of you under the age of 60, yes, there once was 2 high schools in the northern part of the county. They merged to form Catoctin, but I digress. So anyway, he was a graduate of Emmitsburg High School while Emmitsburg existed, and then went on to the University of Maryland, where he played football and soccer and basketball and baseball. And it wasn't enough that he just simply played those sports. He became a college All-American as a football player, despite never playing high school football. 2 years later, he became a college All-American in soccer. Now, I won't talk about the basketball career. It was pretty short-lived and non-distinguished. But baseball was really where it was at for him. He went on to have a great career at the University of Maryland, and when it was done, he kind of decided to get on with his life. He did a short military stint, realized that wasn't for him, so he decided to give baseball one last chance. He ultimately was signed by the Brooklyn Dodgers and spent the next 7 years in the Dodgers organization. So imagine a kid from Emmitsburg, college All-American in 2 sports, professional All-American in another. Simply an amazing athlete who basically no one knows. A name that might be a little more familiar to you, Barbara McCutchen Martin. Yeah, a little love there. So Barbara, in 1952, makes it to the Olympic trials in diving. 1952, that was 20 years before Title IX. And Title IX revolutionized women's sports. Barbara makes it to the Olympic trials as an unattached athlete. She was not part of any club. She didn't get to compete for her high school. She did not get to compete in college because they didn't have diving. She goes on to finish 8th at the Olympic trials. And to give you some perspective on how significant that achievement was, the top 3 women advanced to the 1952 Olympics. And once there in Helsinki, they took the gold, the silver, and the bronze. Looking at Barbara Martin's diving performance from the 52 trials, and I know I'm comparing apples to oranges here, but it is reasonable to assume that she was in the top 20, definitely the top 30 female divers in the world at her time. And she's a Frederick High grad. Now, not all of the stories have such a happy ending. And I'll end with this quick story on Kenny Ports from Walkersville. Kenny Ports was a multi-sport athlete at Walkersville High School who also ended up at the University of Maryland. And in 1941, as a 19-year-old junior, he leads the University of Maryland men's soccer team to an undefeated season, and he is named All-American, our first college soccer All-American. He doesn't get the opportunity to repeat that effort, because you see, about a month after his season ended, Pearl Harbor was attacked. The U.S. enters World War II, and our nation's focus changes forever. When Kenny comes back to school for his senior year, 1942-43, the University of Maryland, like most colleges and universities at that time, had either greatly scaled back or just simply eliminated college athletics. So there was no senior season for him. He was done. He graduates in 1943 and promptly enlists in the military. After basic training, and he's sent overseas, in June of 1944, as the Allies go in for the invasion of Normandy, Kenny is part of the second wave of Americans who reached the shores in later June in France. In September, while his division is marching through France, liberating little towns, he's killed in action, dead at the age of 22. He didn't have a wife, no children, no one to really carry on his legacy. Really, the only mention of Kenny Ports nowadays is in the University of Maryland Sports Media Guide and their Soccer Media Guide, just as 1941 All-American Kenny Ports. So I'm here 80 years later, almost, and this is why I'm so passionate about this project. We've had amazing athletes come out of this area with amazing stories, and this is a chance to tell their stories, to have them remembered forever, and also to have them have these stories serve as inspiration to the generations that follow. Because my goal is I would love to see younger athletes look at that wall and say, I can do that. I'm from Frederick County. Thank you.
So I hope that gives you a little bit of a glimpse of what's to come and why we're so excited about the project. So let me explain where we go from here. This is a 2-year project. Our goal is to break this down into 2 phases. The total budget for the project is about $1.8 million, and my job is to help raise the money. So you guys can close those doors and lock them. Who's up for 100,000? But I have 200,000. But we do need your support, and I hope you find the value of being a part of this. You know, it's interesting because when we first started the fundraising, Governor Hogan, I believe, was the first kind of step up to the plate, and then the Oshman Foundation and so forth, and we're just getting started. It's a big feat. I want to talk about how we're going to break this down into 2 tiers, or 2 phases, before we talk about this, if that's okay. No? That's okay. All right. First phase, next year. This is our objective for next year. We're going to build what we call as the bookends. So if you can imagine the wall, and on each end of the wall, we're going to take the 22 of the 250 athletes and have that part of the mural constructed, end of 2022. It will then become visible, and then the publicity that we'll begin to see will be much stronger. The following year, we will finish the project. When the project is complete, there will be a boardwalk outside, so you can walk along the boardwalk. It will be covered with lights. There'll be a digital kiosk so that you can learn about every single athlete while you're there. It's about the stories. There will be an interactive website, and there's actually being a book written by yours truly, Sheldon, that will be published, and that will become the final piece of our 2-year project. We're very excited. We know that to raise this kind of money in Frederick County can be challenging. We're off to a good start, but we need help, so we had to be creative in our approach. But what we realized when we came together, there are so many athletes outside of the 250 that I know you would love to see on the wall, or coaches, mentors in your sport. So we came up with a creative way to make this happen. So as you see, there's three tiers here for us to reach our goal. So the idea, we created a platform where you as an individual could start a little fundraiser, raise $5,000, or you could do it with a group of people. You could start what we call a team. And you create a fundraiser, maybe your friends, coworkers create a fundraiser, and you have a team of people that have a goal to raise $5,000 so they could get their favorite coach or player on our website so we could tell their story. $10,000 will actually put their story in the book and on the website. And $25,000 will do even more. So what Yemi is going to do, right in the center of the mural, he's going to paint a bleacher section. And in that bleacher section, there's going to be enough room for about 40 additional athletes or coaches. This is outside of the 250. You or a group of friends raise $25,000, they will be on the mural forever. Their story will be told forever. Give you an example. So my kids went to Urbana High School. My son, gotta say it, he's my son. Team captain, most valuable player, the last time Urbana football won a state championship. Rock and roll. Gotta say it. But the point is that we were all engulfed in Urbana football. And what we learned is that Urbana in the earlier years had gone through a period where they won state championship year after year after 5 straight years. It was a remarkable run. There were some extraordinary athletes that came out of that. There was one in particular. His name was Billy Gaines. He broke all kinds of records at Urbana and had an awesome opportunity for his future. Unfortunately, through a tragic accident, he passed away shortly after high school. With the permission of the Gaines family, and Bill and Kim are here tonight, I personally would like to start a fundraiser to raise $25,000 because I know when I was involved, I was the president of the athletic boosters at Urbana, and I heard about Billy Gaines, and I saw the passion from the parents, the players, not just the years that he was there, but for years after. What an opportunity for us, for me to help them build a legacy for their son. I've been asked to raise money for a lot of projects in the past. I've been very selective. To be part of something like this with the people that I'm a part of, with Mary Ellen, with Sheldon, with Yemi, with Tony C. back there, with John. I mean, these are incredible, all the right people. This is not going to create just local press. Remember, I said Guinness, right? We all know, not the beer, Guinness. By being the world record largest sports mural, not only will we get local press, not only will we get national press, but we will be getting international press. When you talk about art and good art, and you've got 250 stories, and you've got this kind of artist, there is just nothing more that I could be more passionate about helping make this happen. I hope you guys feel the same way. Thank you for coming out tonight.